Welcome, everybody, to Edge of the Rabbit Hole. I'm author and ghost historian Mike Ricksecker. With me, as always, is my co-hostess, Vanessa Hogle. We've got the chat Shananigator, Shana, with us today, so she won't be able to shenanigate the chat. Behave down there. I know how you guys can get rowdy when she is not down there to keep you in order. Vanessa will be watching the chat, though. And then with us is Coyote Chris Sutton, who is our great friend. You've met him before, doing drum circles here at Mineral Springs. Yep. And we're going to be doing some of that here tonight. Unfortunately, our friend Dave Nunnally could not be with us here this evening. He had an emergency to run out to, so he was going to provide us a lot of the history from down here, but I think we know enough we can kind of handle that.
We can probably, scrabble something together.
Yeah, I think we'll be all right. So
we'll make some shit up.
We'll make some. So just real quick, there was a $5 super chat from Robert Hanna just before the show started, so thank you very much, Robert Hanna. Also want to note that we just hit 14,000 subscribers today on the Haunted Road Media YouTube channel, so thank you all very, very much for hitting that goal. The big one is going to be 15,000 by Halloween, so we are going to do a giveaway for that. So help us get to 15,000 by Halloween. We'll do a giveaway, and there'll be some cool spooky shit in that for Halloween. So. But Vanessa also, hang on a second. Tom McNicholas, $5 super sticker, which is a big, what is that, a whoa? It's a green guy doing like a whoa thing. Whoa. So that's cool.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tom. And then a $25 super chat from Dawn. She says, happy October, love you guys, woot woot to 14,000. Well, thank you very much, Dawn. We absolutely appreciate that. Cool. So awesome. So before we get into everything that's going on, I know Vanessa had something that she wanted to share and just give you a little bit of perspective. Oh, here we go. $15 super chat from Lambie Pie 25. She says, love you guys.
Thanks,
woohoo. Thank you very, very much. That's awesome, guys. Vanessa had something that she wanted to share, and just hopefully we don't get the Mineral Spring is straight back behind us, give you an idea where we are down here. Hopefully we don't get sucked into back there while Vanessa's going to share this story. So take it away, Vanessa.
Yeah, please don't get sucked in, okay? I wanted to bring this up on the show just to kind of reach as many people as we could on something that happened today. And I don't know if it's connected. Maybe you guys can give me some feedback on that, or if anyone in the chat has had this experience, I would love to know it. Of course, we all know, I was taking a tinkle. I was on the potty at work, and because that's my humor, taking a tinkle. And when I had finished my business, I got up and I was getting cleaned up and everything, and I looked over at one of those plastic Rubbermaid closets that we keep the toiletries in. And something caught my eye, and it lasted for about 5 seconds. And I physically saw this. This wasn't third eye seeing it. This wasn't in my brain. It wasn't something that I saw in my head. I physically saw it in front of me. And it was probably about the size of 2 watermelons. That's about how big it was, about this big. And the best way I can describe it is it looked like, imagine you're sitting in a movie theater and you're watching a movie where they're watching a movie. And when the film catches on fire and on the screen it does that weird black, brown,
right,
bubbly fire thing. It did that for about 5 seconds directly in front of me. And I mean, it was one of those moments where I was like,
Yeah, that's
did
that's
I
really
just
wild.
see that?
Chris,
I have no idea what that was.
That's so many different possibilities. I mean, sometimes things just do stuff to mess with you. I've decided, and it could be a lot of different things. Elemental things going on and things like that. So you never know.
What I wondered is, was it? I mean, we all know that. I don't buy that whole bullshit. The veil gets thinner this time of year. The veil is what it is. We see it or we don't. We see what is there or we don't, but it sounds romantic. The veil is getting thin. It sounds romantic.
Well, especially for the month.
Exactly. But for me, it was almost as if it was a burning of a membrane, of the separation, like I actually could physically see it.
The thinning of the veils.
That scared the shit out of me.
Oh, that's a good thing.
It was very bizarre. So I had to share that. I just wanted to know
Okay.
if anyone else has ever dealt with that, if it means anything to Mineral Springs, because I gotta tell y'all, I'm at a fucking loss. I don't know.
I have no idea.
All right. Well, we're just
just
gonna chalk it up to crazy Vanessa.
Yeah, I
shit.
saw other
Let's
weird
go.
shit last week, but not that. So I don't know.
There was another
Yeah.
super chat go through too.
Yeah, there
I
was.
saw it.
She saw it, so let's go get that real quick.
What?
Yeah, you're supposed to be taking care of the chat there, Vanessa. There's a $10 Australian super chat from Robert White. Halloween.
Oh, well, I was
under a
doing
month
this.
ago. Thank you very much, Robert.
Bless y'all, love y'all. Please be sweet, because I can't see shit.
She was telling a story.
She was telling a story. I know. So,
Alrighty.
all right.
Y'all
So,
from the top of my head. Keep going.
So we'll get to it then. We're back here at Mineral Springs. So we've done this a couple of times. I think this is our third or fourth time this year, right? Because we did Pearl's Room at the beginning of the year. We did the pool. We did the rooftop with you just before Haunted Road Media Paracon, and now we're down here in the sub basement. So kind of like, I guess, once a quarter at least.
You know, they say, as I say, the deeper you go here, the weirder it gets.
It does. And Shana, you already had some stuff going on earlier today when we first walked in.
Yeah, and you don't have to. I have never felt creeped out down here before, but this is the first time that I came down here without any kind of protection or crystal or anything. And if I wasn't part of the show, I would have waited in the car. So, I mean, I've been seeing, saw a dark shadow, saw a lighter smoky gray colored shadow.
You
Both,
said the one was a tall,
Yeah.
dark one over there.
yeah, both of them were definitely adult size. And I mean, I've seen yellow twinkles, white twinkles, yellow ball light. They got really close. I've been feeling some weird stuff, and I've been groped and just so yeah, I've got a nice size black tourmaline now, so about the size of the palm of my hand, so I feel a little better, but there's still some stuff going on. It's just not as creepy as it was before.
So, yeah, I mean, I haven't felt as much as Shauna, but she's a little bit more in tune to things than I am. I mean, there was a different vibe when we first came down today. When we were setting up, I kept feeling like somebody was playing with my hair and kind of messing with me as I was setting up. Maybe they're just curious as to, what in the world we were doing down here. But, Chris, you've been down here more than we have. So what is the general vibe that you get down here? And have you seen stuff like that down here before?
Oh yeah, this is my favorite place. I mean, I feel like I'm home down here, even though it gets pretty rowdy down here sometimes. Like Shana saw, yeah, you see the shadow figures, you see the twinkly lights will come out, usually out in the middle out there. And if you can't really see the whole room, it's like a large room with pillars running down the middle of it. It used to be, we're getting kind of the history here, but they say it was a slaughterhouse. It really wasn't. The slaughterhouse was down the street. This is a bottling plant for the spring water, because the springs are
directly behind us. Yep.
And so there's some people believe, and I'm starting to kind of maybe get into this theory a little bit, that the where the spring is, with the big hole down there, is where things come and go. Not every spirit that you find in the Mineral Springs either died here or is related to here. You get people that are spirits that I call transients that come in and out. And if they're coming in and out of here, then yeah, it gets a little nuts, because you're right down the bottom. Okay, and really you're underground here. That's why I call it the sub basement. Donna Nunnally and I have felt like I don't want to say creature, but it's an elemental type. It's not a human that was down here for a while. I haven't felt it the last couple of times I was here. That was pretty, I don't want to say it's nasty, but wasn't taking any shit. But it would kind of stay out of your way, and you stayed out of its way, and so things worked out. I've heard footsteps down here. My son and I were down here one time by ourselves in the dark, and you could, clear as day. It wasn't upstairs, wasn't any of that. It was like, 10 feet from us, circling us as we stood in the middle there. So, And rocks have been known to fly.
Oh yeah, you had a little bit of that earlier. Shana took a photograph down there, right? That's what you were doing. You took a photograph.
Yeah, I took a picture, and immediately it sounded like I was just going to blow it off as like some of the, building materials, something just, lost its perch and or lost its place in the building and just kind of fell. But then there were footsteps right after it, so I apologized because, I felt like since it happened right after I took the picture, maybe that's why. But then there's also been, it's been known that, people will sometimes, homeless will sometimes get in down here.
Yep.
So,
so we had to go take a look, and it was pretty distinct because I was down here setting up and starting to put things together, and you were down there, and then that happened. And I heard it, like I said, pretty distinct down here. And Chris, I like your idea of, the fact that, things may come and go through the hole in the ground. I've thought for a while that something like that makes sense. That you're still, even though it's filled up,
right?
It's still essentially a hole into the ground. You're connected to that earth energy through that thing
and the water, and
in the water.
So it's plausible. I probably should get some dry ice smoke down here sometime and try to do a David Roundtree kind of experiment like they used to do on ghost stalkers, and see what comes out of that. And that'd be kind of a neat experiment to do down here someday. Just test that out. But a lot of these places have portals and things come and go. McPike, just right up the road here from McPike Mansion, same way. They get lots of visitors besides the resident spirits. There are resident spirits here, as we know, with Paul. Not Paul, with Pearl. And there's and I know Shana has come across some spirits. Well, we all have, and so it's sort of unique to people sometimes. Some spirits are attached to certain people, and then we have our one guy that hangs around here down the pool.
William.
William, yes. Yeah. I don't think William's human, but somebody had to call him something, and so he does like to get after females.
Right.
You've noticed, so.
Yeah, Sean said that.
Real quick before we go any further, y'all, I have to because I don't want to forget this.
We have two of them.
Basis 1945 and David Y, both $5 super chats. Thank y'all so much.
Awesome, thank you very much. And we got a super sticker here. B3 Airspace $50 super sticker of what is that? Riding a firecracker or a rocket?
It's a rocket.
Wow,
a
awesome.
rocket.
Thank you very much, B3 Airspace. Absolutely appreciate that. She's one of our Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons as well. So
all of you guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much.
Yes, you are.
I have a question. There's not really questions quite yet in the chat. But when you were talking about taking the photos and different things happening, it makes me wonder, have you ever felt a difference between you took a photo and you felt something negative, and you took a photo and you felt something positive, whereas it was obvious one was offended by it and obvious that one was intrigued by it, or a little bit, hey, check me out.
Yeah. I had an experience at actually two of them, one at the cafe in Campsville and one at Eldred House, where I had said that I was going to take a picture, and then I took a picture, and then I looked at it and I didn't see anything in the photos. So then I said, I'm going to take another picture. If you would like to be in the picture, I'd like to, take one of you too. And then I snapped another one, and then, I'm not one for orbs or anything like that, but, it looked like somebody took a whiteout pen and just went boop.
Right.
And it wasn't there before, but it was there after I asked. And then at the time, there's this, at Eldred House, there's a family that died in there. And there was two kids, and then the youngest one, Alma, was it, I think? Okay. And then
she was the young one.
Yeah, and then there was a
4-year-old.
Yeah. And then there was a new little boy in there, and his name was William. So there's just the one us. So then I said, I'm going to take another picture. William, why don't you stand there with Alma? And I took another picture, and it was the same thing, that same little white dot, but then there was two of them. There was one next to it. So that would be the positive one. And then there's been other times where In the cafe, I had my father, who I love, and he's a skeptic, but he stood inside in the cafe, what used to be the place where they stored bodies when it was a funeral home. But it had been a meat locker, and then at one time they stored both at the same time until it transitioned from one building to the other. But he would go in there by himself in the dark with just nothing. So, he's brave. I'm not. But we stood there, and he was standing in there with the door open. And so I took a picture of him. And then I said, hey, Dad, I'm going to take another picture. I'm going to ask somebody to, go in there and stand with you. And he was like, okay, yeah, that's okay. So then he put his arm out, and then when I snapped the next picture, there was a little white dot right in there, like in the circle of his arms,
Oh, wow.
But then there's been other times at the cafe whenever I've taken pictures, and I knew immediately after taking the picture that I should not have done it. So where either a fully charged phone would just die for no reason until after an apology, or so it's like, my phone's fully charged, what's going on, And then,
I've been there. We did that in Ireland.
Yeah, and then be like, okay, if this is because I took a picture, I'm sorry, I won't do it anymore. And then I turn my phone on, and then I got 100%. So, then I just end up not taking any pictures for the rest of the night. So.
Wow. Chris, bassist 1945, wants me to say, loves your shirt.
Well, you know
Rock
what?
on, Iron Maiden.
Nice.
Yeah, this is my concert T-shirt. And I was thinking too, it's the first day of October.
Yep.
And Iron Maiden certainly goes with October. You got Eddie on the front here, and who doesn't want to hear a little Fear of the Dark?
Yeah.
So I was hitting that on the way here. So thank you very much. Yes, it's my concert shirt. And plus, and I'm kind of vain too. Most people don't get to see all my tattoos either. So
Yeah.
I brought that out today too.
Yeah, which kind of goes with, we're going to do drum circle
exactly
here.
What we're doing. Yeah, we're
everything.
doing. Plus, we're down in a whole nasty sub basement. So
Right.
I left my tux in the closet.
Yep. Yeah, so this is really our, and Chris makes a good point of, hey, we're kicking off October here, and our scheduling being down here in the sub basement on this particular day is October 1st. So, we are kicking off the season with this treat of being down here in the sub basement of Mineral Springs. And, Chris is going to do a drum circle, which he has done, I guess, a couple times now at the Haunted Road Media Paracon from down here.
Other times down here, several times.
Yeah, and you do this on a kind of a semi-regular basis for other events and things that go on here. Yeah. So, you got your drum with you?
I do.
All right.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, because I actually haven't been down here for one of his drum circles.
Yeah, because you guys
I have.
Yeah, we're always running around.
I have.
Yeah, these things, my drum does not react to all the moisture. So we got plenty of that. So I'll put this back here.
Yeah.
So well, not really a circle, but you kind of get the idea.
Yeah.
The reason I do this stuff, down in places, usually you do drums for ceremony or for singing, and some of the circles are part of the Red Cedar Circle in Edwardsville, Illinois, and we use it for our groups and things like that. Here, because we're so right down the ground, and that I always felt there's a native presence down here, and so we sing songs to them to ask. I always ask for forgiveness or just to say hello, thank you for all the great teachings you have left us, and you still give us, because many of the elders are still teaching. And so it's a way of saying thanks. It's also a way of saying, hey, introducing ourselves to the rest of the spirits of the rest of the place. We're not here to come here to taunt you. We're not here to come to hurt you. We want to hear your story. And if we can help you, we can help. We're here to help you too. And so this is a way of kind of getting that started. And it does increase activity. I've place that Mike has been to recently, the Hinsdale House. I did one there, and some people had some K2s and something. They were just firing. I mean, during the circle. So the spirits there certainly are attracted to it, as are the spirits down here. So okay, let's do a song here. Whoa, whoa, hey, hey, yeah, whoa, hey, 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 whoa, gives back. Grandmothers and grandfathers, all of the grandmothers and grandfathers of the 4 directions, all the grandmothers and grandfathers who have come here to watch what we're doing, because I know you're curious. Why are these people sitting down in a dirty basement talking to a box? We're here because we're here to learn. We're here to tell other people about what's going on here and what we're doing to help the spirits, and not only of the Mineral Springs, but also spirits elsewhere. And we are come here with all respect, not only to the grandmothers and grandfathers who come here and to hear the drums and the song, but also the other spirits of this place as well. Mielo Chitanishta, I am here to let you know that we come in peace, that we come in love, and we come with respect, and many thanks for all the things that you have taught us, and that we continue to learn from your wisdom. So that's generally how we would start it, and then we would go around. I would say, my name is Chris. You'd say,
My name is Mike.
My name is Shana.
Okay, we go all the way. We usually run a big circle in here, and then we go all the way around the circle, and yeah, they like to come out and watch. We have guests.
But the energy has changed a bit.
It does.
Here.
It does.
Yeah.
It makes it lighter. We found.
Real quick, Denise Pridemore is asking, Chris, before you started the drumming, you seemed a bit distracted, as if you were hearing something. And
Yes.
if you were, okay,
Yeah.
what was that? And second question from Judy Wilson, would spirits be attracted to any type of music? So if you could answer both of those, that would be great.
Any type of what? I'm sorry.
Music.
Yeah, I think. What the biggest thing is your intent of playing it. I can think of symphonic music or any type of music. I think a lot of it has to do with the rhythm. But the drum has a certain rhythm to it that in our brains drops the alpha waves and raises the beta waves. The beta waves allow us to experience the paranormal, and things like that better, the spiritual better, because it shuts up our monkey mind, and so that Western culture mind, and so we're able to be more perceptive. So that definitely helps, because the spirits are attracted to the rhythmic. You could use a rattle. You could use guitar. I don't know. Like Iron Maiden. I'm not sure how old. I don't know. Some Iron Maiden might work. But yeah, some stuff would work.
Probably something that's a little bit more rhythmic.
Yeah, Marilyn Manson and stuff like that. Nothing against Marilyn Manson, but probably not good for calling in spirits. But yeah, I would something more rhythmic. But in the songs, the song I was singing is a potlatch song, which is a giveaway song, which means I'm here to give to you, and I will receive from you if you wish to give to me. And so there's meanings behind what you do. It's like shamanism. It's like anything in life. It's your will, that's your gift, and every one of you has a gift from spirit, and your intent, what you do with it. And
Exactly.
And that means a lot. To how spirits will relate to you, whether they come around or not. Conversely, I've been kicked out of places because they say the spirits don't like me.
It happens.
Because I do house cleansings.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
Okay.
And we're all people, living or dead, and not everybody's energy vibes with everybody.
That's right.
It is what it is, and I think we forget that. Getting back to Denise's question, as when you were distracted because it appeared you were hearing something, what was that?
What happens down here, if there's something going on, they'll kind of hang out in the shadows. There's shadows all around us. We're in this island of light here, and
It's pretty dark around us
in the
otherwise.
hallway you can barely see. And there's a hallway right outside of here where we have encountered what we think is a native shaman woman. That's the perception I got, and a couple other people have gotten. And she's not here all the time. She said she wanted to come home with me one time. I said, no, you're not coming home with me at all. That's not going to work. That pissed my wife off, for one thing, bring some old dead shaman woman home. Mrs. Coyote would not be happy. But yes, and so there's just so many things down here. And yeah, I feel stuff, and so you see my head, look around, or I don't really hear things, but I just feel, because the energy, that's what I do when I go into a haunt, is to get my energy up and out. When I'm down here, it's automatically doing that, because I don't let my guard down for a second down here. So yes, there are things out in the periphery that are checking us out. Most of them are just benign and just are curious, but you can never be too careful. So,
No.
That's very true, and that leads us to another question from Zippy Davis. And I really like this question. Do spirits relate to actual live music better than a CD?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would agree, because it's
Yeah.
the energy that I used to date a musician, and as much of an asshole as he was, I have to be honest, he was very correct in how he explained that to me. And it is the energy exchange between the musician and the audience. And we can't forget that spirits are the audience as well.
There's also something that doesn't transfer over all the way with the CD, and I've seen this with Shana. Shana loves live music, but she cannot stand the recording of live music. And so if we're listening to the radio or whatever, and something that's a live recording comes on, or like when you're looking at YouTube videos, whatever, if it is a recording of live music, she'll change it because she just doesn't get the same vibe that she would if she was actually there in the present. And you used to go to live shows all the time.
Yeah, I used to every weekend way back, I was out just all the time, and I went to a lot of concerts. But yeah, if it comes on the radio, or if it's like a live CD or whatever, I'm just like, it's just not doing it for me. It's not the same energy, first of all, and not everybody sounds as good live as they do. Whenever it's already been, mixed, and sometimes raw is not always good. There's a pretty good sized handful of bands that are just awesome no matter what they do.
Let me ask Chris this, because we actually did a video, if you remember, Inside the Upside Down, before it became Beyond the Shadows, on music and the paranormal, and an interesting study that somebody had done. I can't remember who it was, but they had noticed that when you're at a live show like that, and you're really kind of like in tune and sync with the music or whatever, there's almost like a blue glow that comes on your across your skin like that. So is that kind of the same thing that happens to you when you're doing the drumming?
Sure. The energy is very similar to going to a live. Of course, I'm always singing along anyway. It's a band I always know, and so when I go, most time it is anyway. But yeah, I mean, it is, and this is why people have used drums and rattles for all these years, thousands of years, because of this effect. It gets your energy moving, and you feel better, and people are attracted to you, or attracted to the situation, because you've got this great energy going. And
It's
conversely, the
vibrational.
spirits, you're letting the spirits know that you're into this, and that your energy's good, or they can read your energy real quick. And it's just, I believe exactly what you're saying. I like that. I like the blue glow. That's pretty cool.
Big huge shout out to Chipper Terry for a $10 super chat.
Thank you,
Y'all have
Chipper.
been
Thank you, Terry. Appreciate that.
amazingly generous tonight, and we sure do appreciate it. We really do.
Happy October, everybody.
I know, right?
And thank you for the 14,000 and all that.
Yes,
so, thank you.
very much. Chris, you're absolutely right, because music is vibrational, and when it's weird, because we've all been in that car and had the car pull up next to us that only has the bass going. Okay. And it's weird. I don't think people understand how music truly works. Bass is wonderful when it is a good mixture of bass and treble and percussion, because they all work together in this symbiotic way that allows our body to absorb it. But when one is so much further above the other, our body will almost reject it.
The harmonics, yes. Although I'm a bass player, so I like a little extra bass, but I do agree with you.
A little's one thing.
So am I, actually. I play bass,
Yeah, I like some bass. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. But
There's a lot of things that we have in
vibration.
common here, like
yeah.
big baseball fans, and wow.
Oh yeah, Mac and I got to talking the other day, and we started talking about baseball history. Neither one of us knew that we love baseball as much as we do, and so
it was funny.
We got to talk about it. And you look at me, you wouldn't think I was a big baseball fan, but I've been a baseball fan since I was a little boy.
It just doesn't come up in
No, it doesn't.
in this industry,
Ghosts and stuff.
Although there are a lot of haunted baseball stadiums.
I believe that. I do believe that.
So, but back to the music and the drumming and all that. I mean, we're just up the road from Cahokia. So you have these different sites of power that a lot of people theorize that people were able to access, almost like this ancient knowledge, this ancient maybe like a method of healing through these different sites of powers, using things like music and drumming and things like that.
Actually, a friend of mine wrote a book. Greg Fields. He said he's at Southern Illinois, he's at Edwardsville. He wrote a book about harmonics and healing and things like that, and he's also part of the Red Cedar Circle. But yeah, I mean, the Shaman's Drum, it used to be a name of a magazine. It was a pretty cool magazine, but you never can't think of a shaman without a drum.
Right.
And we still learn, I don't know, let me show you this. I learned this the other day from some lady. I never met her before. And I never done this before. You put the drum over somebody's head. And you get the
you definitely feel the vibration
the
up
vibrations
there.
come down top of your head. That's pretty good. That'd be good at mind control, maybe. I don't know. But no, I mean, and it's just these guys, these women. It wasn't just men. Men and women knew how to use sound. They knew how to use the herbs that they could find and things like that. I mean, they were very good at what they did. And having read a lot, they could do birth control. They could do all sorts of stuff with these things they would make, and after years of experimentation, and well, hell, let's try this, and it works, and so that's trial and error. Unfortunately, that's that's
how you learn.
Yeah. But people would say now, well, it's that's you don't need the drumming, and that's just you just need the medicine and things like that. But they've proven that your physical well-being is better when you're receiving that type of prayer, that type of energy, and it makes you more able to get better. I mean, many natives refer to hospitals as places to go to die, not to get well, because it separates them from the spiritual part of their lives. And so many hospitals now in Indian country will do both.
Yeah, I
both methods.
Yeah, I've seen a video out there. I guess maybe there's several, but it's somewhere in Southeast Asia, and their hospital basically, like the person had a cyst, and they have the ultrasound. They're hooked up to the ultrasound. You see the cyst there, and there's a group of people in a circle around them, and they do this chanting, and you see this cyst break apart and dissipate away after maybe 3-5 minutes, something like that, just from this chanting that they're doing.
Because everybody, you got to kind of believe a little bit.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a faith in there.
If you don't believe it, if you think it's bullshit, you're blocking it.
Yeah.
Your own energy acts against you, and it blocks it. It's like you're trying to help somebody if they're doing a reading or something like that, and they say, I want you to help me, but then they block it.
Right.
Their energy interferes with your energy trying to get in to help them. But once you believe it, and I didn't grow up believing this kind of stuff, but that energy, you feel it come into you, and it's so good, and you just feel like your body just feel like, yes, I got to heal. I mean, that's just how it goes. When I was recovering from my hip replacements, I was, dipping into this stuff and trying to use my drum and things like that to get better. But mostly it was mind and reaching out to the spirit. You get your spirit guides, and you get in relationships with spirits of certain directions, and you ask them to help you, and your spirit guides will bring you energy. But just keeping that spiritual mindset through all that really improves your mental outlook and also your body energy, and it helps you heal.
Yeah. Now, what about a place like this? Okay, we're down here with Mineral Springs. That we literally have an old mineral spring behind us, and they'd be bottling that through here. So let's say they were still doing that now. You have the mineral water coming through. You're doing your drumming. That people don't even think about it, but when mineral water means that those stones, those elements are actually in the water. So would something like that, the drumming on top of them with the mineral water, would that maybe charge it somehow?
I don't know. They said that shit killed more people than it actually helped. People back then. There was no FDA back then.
Right.
And they said the stuff was just garbage. I mean it.
Okay.
But I have actually read about that, where you can energize, not just shamans, but people, light workers, and people who are energy workers and things like that. I imagine Reiki folks. You're taking energy that's natural, and some people, if you want to get into the Eastern thought of it's chi. I'm going to take this chi. I'm going to concentrate it in this glass of water. and it will put more energy into that water. So when
Right.
you drink it, that energy comes to you. It's the stuff will do what the energy will do what you tell it to do, but you really got to practice it and get it to stay in one place and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's like taking you can take energy and I can rub come back across your
Sure,
head with it.
sure.
And I can feel your energy and you can feel mine, even though I don't touch you. So yeah, I mean it does do that, but it takes
Okay,
practice.
real quick. First off, for everybody in the chat that's trying to message me on Facebook, that's going to kick me out of the chat if I go to answer. So please don't do that. Okay.
Yeah, just use the chat room to message.
I'm the
please.
chat room. Yeah, use the chat room to message. The other thing, as far as the minerals go, our bodies don't process those properly. So you're absolutely correct on that. I found that out in Mexico. It's not that Mexico water is bad to drink. It's the minerals that it has in it. We're not adapted to it and can't process it.
Okay. So
Therein
Shana
lies the
can't
difference.
eat her stone collection. That's not going to help.
Yes,
her.
please don't eat your stone collection. Judy Wilson is wondering, this is two-part, Judy and Tom. Judy is wondering, do you think there are more darker energies down there than up in the hotel? And Tom is wanting to know, Mike, can you put a flashlight behind you and illuminate the area behind you?
Probably not too well, but I could throw a little bit back there.
And Robert Hanna,
You got a better
I'm not
one?
a good singer.
Oh, there we go.
I got this $20 flashlight from the. It's about the best I can do.
Yeah.
No, but I see what they're talking about. You got 3 of them back there.
To the one question about the more darker spirits, yeah, but it doesn't mean here in the pool sometimes. Well, William stays around the pool area, so that's always
Yeah, and that
that's always
area
a bonus.
back behind it.
Back behind
Yeah.
the pool. The pool itself's not too bad.
I would think that's probably the darkest area.
No, down here's the darkest area.
You think?
But yeah. But see, the funny things about the Mineral Springs is that things kind of move sometimes. The energy will shift. And I've seen people encounter dark things all over the building. It just depends. The ballroom usually stays pretty clean. You got the one toilet that flushes back there and scared the crap out of my daughter one day. I love
The
that.
portal potty.
The portal
Yeah.
potty. Oh, I like that. I hadn't heard that one yet.
Yeah.
I do not like that one.
But yeah, no,
No.
generally I would say it's tends to more stay down, but it will come out and come up. So it's the one thing that's interesting about the Mineral Springs is that you don't know what you're getting on a certain day.
Looks like we have another super chat here. $20 super chat from Donna Bucksbaum. Hey, Donna.
We sure did.
She says,
Yeah.
she says, such a long time no see. Miss you all. Much love for you and what you do. I know you want to say hi.
I love you, wifey.
Oh.
Thank you very much, Donna.
I have a quick question. Not from the chat, but with all of the flooding last year and how close that water came, and we all know that water is a conduit for spirit activity, that it can carry the energies along with it. Did y'all notice an increase in paranormal activity or the ability to communicate with spirits during that time or shortly thereafter?
The thing about floodwater like that, it doesn't move very well until it decides to recede. It was, I would say it was about 200 yards from here.
Yeah, it was pretty close. I mean,
it was closer than normally goes,
yeah, people were all afraid that it was going to come up into here, but this is, a little high up. But yeah, it was just right down the road, and actually right on the other side of the highway over there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I was kind of out of action during that time. I was having surgeries and stuff like that, so I wasn't around a whole lot. I came to Mike's Con and things like that while the flow was going on.
Right, but we had during that investigation at the conference, Tom McNicholas down in the chat was there. Is when we saw with our own eyes a little girl all the way upstairs. I can't say that it had anything to do with the water. I mean, maybe because that's the only time I've ever seen her with my own eyes. But we've always had a lot of things going on up there. This was just another one. I don't know if you have any opinion on that.
I've told this story before, but for anybody who's new, whenever the floodwaters came up in Campsville, the activity at the cafe was definitely more because I know that there were at least, I'm going to assume at least I would always see adult size and child size wet footprints upstairs whenever the water got up close to the building. And they would show up in real time. They would be there, or you would be there, and they wouldn't be there, and then you'd hear something, and you go back in the other room, and there would be some wet footprints upstairs, which I always thought was kind of weird that they would be upstairs and not downstairs. But yeah, you didn't see that whenever the river wasn't up. So that building in that case was more active to me, or at least with that kind of activity that was water related, because you didn't see it otherwise.
Well, I was curious because I remember vaguely somebody, maybe it was Mike, who had told me about that area, almost that peninsula of land where there was a mass grave that's very close to Mineral Springs.
Oh, you're talking about, just right out over there. You're talking about Smallpox Island.
Exactly.
Yeah, which
And I was wondering.
is gone now. When they built the dam that used to be there, they dug up that island and came across the bodies. And for years afterwards, there'd be fishermen downriver that were, fishing up the bones from that. So, all that energy. And you're talking about, it's interesting, the connections within this town. This is something that Shana and I have been researching, and we're going to have more videos coming out on all this. But you're talking about, those Confederate soldiers that were over here at the prison, and we've already talked a lot about that prison and the energy that was around there that's still over there. And they were sent to that island that was out in the middle of the river, which has connections all the way back to Abraham Lincoln and his duel that he had out there. It has connections to the McPike family up here, which we know about, the hauntings up there at McPike Mansion. There was a guy in the area named Deaf Bill Lee who had his own paranormal experience out there on the island. And then you have the dam that comes in and digs up all these bones. The dam's not even there anymore. They only had it there for like 30 years and moved it downriver. Yep. So there's a lot of interesting history surrounding all that, and it kind of makes you wonder if some of that still doesn't come into play, because that's just straight out there, right across from where we're at.
Exactly, and that's what I was wondering, because I feel that it is. I really do.
Could be.
I really feel that it is, and it would almost be interesting if there would be any way. And Mike, you're the guy to do it. Lay out a grid to see where particular instances have happened, where there have been claims of paranormal activity, and see exactly what kind of map you can come up with that. Because I would bet you, dollars to donuts, Mineral Springs is probably dead center.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people call this the most haunted building in town.
It is, and it's a pretty haunted town. So,
Right.
Because then the prison's just...
It's just right down the street.
Where we are. Yeah, it's just right down.
The prison's about a quarter of a mile west of us.
And it covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
It was big.
There's so many different reasons why Alton is, hauntorama. You had the prison, you had the blocks from the prison being moved around. There was a lot of, there was a lynching here of Elijah Lovejoy, who was abolitionist, and all these crazy things went on. So there's and I like what Vanessa said about, this whole thing with the island and the laying the grid out. That's would be a good project for you. He's a historian. I'm but a simple shaman.
Because you don't have enough to do, Mike. Because you
don't have enough to do. No, it's actually, it's actually a project that we've been working on off and on. I was hoping we were going to have enough time tonight to actually do a little filming for that, which we didn't. But we were out there. Over there in West Alton by the last piece of that dam that's there, and they have a monument there for the soldiers from the cemetery. It's something we wanted to do earlier this year. Flood prohibited that because that was all underwater earlier this year. So we finally got out there a few weeks ago to do a little bit of something. And so this winter, we hope to have a little bit more out on that.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, like you go up to 3rd Street. 3rd Street's a block north of us. And you got the Unitarian Church, you got the YWCA, you got the old sanitarium, you got this
and those are all haunted.
Haunt Street right there.
Yeah.
And you go up and up Albee, to go to the Unitarian Church.
Right.
You go north again, you hit the McPike Mansion in about 3/4 of a mile.
Yep.
And so downtown is, and I was at a house Gosh, it was more closer to Midtown, but a big old 4-story thing is one of these old houses, and it was.
Well, there's even that little house that on your way to McPike, and you go down that hill before you hit that bridge. It's just right off there on the right hand side. That little house is supposed to be pretty haunted too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's just all kinds of places in this town. It's what we. And I know I've heard stories from people who live in some of these houses closer to downtown.
Right.
And it's they don't talk about it because they want a bunch of people wanting to troop through their house.
Well, Shana used to live in a house down here that was haunted.
Yeah.
That was her first paranormal experience, and boom, it like turned on the light for her.
Yeah, it was like flicking a switch because, things got kind of crazy after that. That's what got me started. Otherwise, I had everything just firmly shut down before that. Like nothing ever happened. I never saw anything, never felt anything, and I don't know how she got through, but I wasn't expecting her when she happened, and but she kind of just kick-started everything for me. So, and then I just
ain't it great?
Yeah. And I decided, and it made me curious. So then, I just started cemetery is where I got started. Actually, the house itself is where I got started, and I wasn't doing a little bit of low-key investigating in there, even though I never do that, or I try not to. I don't want to invite more in than what's already there. So, but there was a lot going on in that house, and the more that I opened myself up to it, and I mean there was some pretty creepy stuff going on in there. So I don't know if anything, I wasn't at that stage where I was doing a lot of research to find out what happened there, but I don't know if it was just like transient stuff coming in. They were just attracted to, hey, what's going on in here, or they just, because that whole street, the neighbors had some stuff going on too. There was a band living next door, and they were practicing just all the time, and but they knew that, the one of them asked me one night, he says, leave at like weird times, and then you come in at weird times, and you're always wearing black, and you got a flat. What do you do? Carry in a case, and you gotta, whatever. And so I told him, he's like, oh, you know what? We got some stuff going on in the basement where we practice, and everybody thinks I'm crazy, but I know something's going on, and the people that live on the other side of us, they got something going on. So I don't know if it's just like this chain reaction of stuff going on, or if all of these houses just really do have something going on in them.
I think Chris has been spotting something going on over here.
Well,
There's something
and
dark
I
over
have
here.
to. Candy Orton
Right.
spotted you.
Yeah,
Spot.
going around that way. It started feeling darker to my right. Still feels fine over here. There's a corner over this way. That's where this one entity hides, or not hides, just prefers to sit there. You don't tell it where to go, particularly.
Yeah, Candy Orton spotted you spotting it.
Yeah.
And that was going to be my next question. So
Yeah, he wasn't hiding it.
yeah.
I saw something walk by the doorway, or I saw something move by the doorway.
Mm-hmm.
And this is dumb, but I'm going to say it anyway because why the fuck not? Okay. I keep seeing a scarecrow down there.
All right.
Something that looks like a scarecrow, and I don't know if that means anything. I don't know if they ever had like a Halloween bash there, or back in the day when it was a big deal. I don't know, but I can't not see it. Only it reminds me of the one from that show, Pumpkinhead.
Ugh.
Oh wow.
Pumpkinhead. Oh my.
Jeez.
No.
Well, before we wrap things up, because we got about 10 minutes left, did you want to do some more drumming, kind of see if we can lighten it a little bit?
So we can, of course, seal it.
Yeah.
Because when you do, you want to seal your work and see what you've done.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, spirits, for standing here with us as the little darkness comes around us every once in a while. We really appreciate it because you've kept us in the light. Because we walk in the light, we stay in the light, and we walk in a way that is good.
Awesome. Yeah, I was actually feeling some tingle around my head and all that. So yeah, so I mean, it seems like
shoulder blades.
Shoulder blades. Okay.
Yeah.
I was definitely feeling it here. So you're talking about sealing. So what do you mean? How you seal
when
that?
When you seal your work, it's like you open the circle and things happen, and then you close. So a circle is a safe place to be in. It's created. It looks like there's people sitting around, but there's an energy that goes around. And then above and below, because we create that sacred space, is what you call it. And so when we're ready to end the circle, we seal it by giving thanks, and that means the good works that we've done stay with us. And also we've done prayers and healing other people, that stays with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we do.
Cool. You heard that too? Yeah. Somebody over here sighing or something.
Yeah, they will do that. It means it's like okay, that's cool.
It's close.
Yeah, it was pretty close by. So will the spirit down here actually join in and participate?
They will come and walk with you, or come around, in between you and look at you. And that's their way of participating, is they come outside the circle and they'll peek in and look and see who's there, because they like that. If they didn't like it, they wouldn't come.
Okay.
If we were bullshit, they wouldn't come. So
cool.
It's a lending of energy. It's a lending of energy. And that is, I think we forget to acknowledge the fact that sometimes the good that we feel from something like that is somebody that is no longer here in the physical form coming to us and lending their energy that is so much more involved than where we're at. They know so much more.
Yep.
And we forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, your guy over here in the corner, that's all he does? He just kind of hangs out in the corner and watches?
He'll throw a rock when you leave sometimes.
Oh, really?
Don and I were down here kind of checking him out, and we started walking upstairs. We were smack up against the wall, so. Like, okay, you should.
That's ghost for come back.
We get along. It's just, we don't bother it. It doesn't bother us, and so it's but it does like to be down here.
Okay. All right. I did want to note, because we observed it earlier, the hole back behind us, the fill, is actually sinking. Now, you actually had an interesting idea about that. I mean, Shana and I, first thought, because we hadn't seen it started doing this until here just recently, was the show in which they were walking on top of it. And
Right.
Not supposed to walk on top of it. Anybody who investigates here, don't walk on top of it.
No.
But you also think that maybe has something to do with the water as well.
Yeah, because when you have a flood like this, the water level comes up, and then if it goes back down, it takes that, where the water comes up, and it takes its stuff back down with it. So why the mound at Cahokia is starting to crack, and if you've noticed that, the Monk's Mound, which is a large, huge, 400, I don't know, it's 400 feet high, I think, pretty close to that. I don't know, I could be wrong. But it's
supposed to be like the biggest pyramid north of Mexico or something like that.
Yes, it's a big ass pile of dirt. So, but what happened is there's clay in the middle of it. When they built it, they put clay and then they put the earth around it. So when East St. Louis is the closest industrial, and when the water level sank, and so because of all the industry, and then the clay started to dry because the water table dropped.
Right.
So what happened when the water came back, because the industry all moved elsewhere, what makes East St. Louis so desolate, because they don't have any jobs.
Right.
And the water came back and went back in the clay, and it caused a crack. When you look on the, I think it's the east side of it, there's a crack down there. They've really been trying to keep from falling in, and so it's a lot of work. But yeah, I mean, it's, but yes, I think water might have had something to do with it. We were talking about earlier, like, maybe the water had effects we don't realize yet.
Right.
By that, was that open things up more? I don't know. So we'll find out.
We'll find out. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us down here, my
Always a
friend, and
pleasure.
kicking off our October here at Haunted Road Media. So we're going to get to super chats and shout outs and all that great stuff. But yeah, we're down here in the basement of the Mineral Springs Hotel, down in the sub basement. If you have not yet visited here, investigated, please do come out, check it out. Get in touch with It's Raining Zen upstairs. They take care of all of those arrangements. And of course, this is where we host our Haunted Road Media Paracon, not in this room up in the Grand Ballroom, but coming down here is, and I just heard some more voices. Coming down here is a part of that. Chris has done some drum circles down here, and what we ended up doing last year, unfortunately, Dave wasn't able to be here tonight, but we did a history session with Dave. He's a fantastic storyteller, gives the history of it, and then after that, come down here, do the drum circle with Chris. So we're gonna do that again next year.
Yeah,
That
hopefully
worked out
next
really
year
well.
I can stay around a little longer.
Yeah.
Rather than have to.
I know it does.
Do we already have the date, Mike? Didn't you say the date?
June 13th. June 13th. Yeah, I haven't
June 13th.
officially posted it, but it will be June 13th. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We keep hearing voices back by the door.